Good afternoon, student, and welcome to Agricultural Education 3. My name is Abraham Sholongela, and I'm your tutor for this specific module. Just to welcome you, I would like to say again, welcome to Agricultural Education 3. I wish all to be hardworking, dedicated, and self-driven students in this course. In this presentation, I will give you some general guidelines that I want everyone to keep in mind when preparing for the 2018 assignments. I will discuss some of the content of your study guide in order to help you prepare for the coming assignments and exams. I would like you to have a good idea what the subject is about as you're preparing for your assignments. Please note that I cannot give attention to the whole content, so should you have any questions, please contact me for help. Use the study guide to prepare for assignments and examination. To start off, I would like us to look at the most important subject in these modules, or because in most cases we find students have a problem to answer questions because they fail to understand the key verbs in a question. And the verb is the key to a good grade. You know, for you to obtain a good grade, you need to understand the key verb that is given in that statement or in a question. And once you understand that key verb, that will help you to obtain a good grade. Now, you need to comply with a specific action that is required to obtain your marks. In other words, you must do what is asked. You need to understand and answer exactly what is asked. The common verbs that are used in the assignments and examinations are, let us look at some of them. For example, the word or the verb analyze. Analyze, it means to examine information in details to discover the main ideas or components or maybe patterns or relationships. When you are asked to analyze, that means you need to examine something. You need to examine it methodically and also in details, typically in order to explain and to interpret it. So here you need to show why they are important and how components are related and what theories they do reflect. And then the other verb that is commonly used in your assignments is define. When you are asked to define, you need to give the precise or brief meaning of something. So you need to go straightforward and give a straightforward answer, a precise and a brief meaning of what you are being asked for. So we do not want you to give us a full history of something, but you just need to go to be specific or to be precise on what you are being asked to define. For example, if you are given to define the term weed or something, you just need to give us a brief, straightforward answer and say the meaning of that particular term or something that you are asked to define. And then we come to demonstrate. When you are asked to demonstrate something, here you need to perform the necessary operation, showing by examples. You know, when you are demonstrating, you need to clearly show the existence or the truth of something by giving proof or evidence. That now by showing it by example, you are demonstrating, showing it by example or step by step, showing or indicating how that something is being carried out or is done. For example, if you are asked to demonstrate on how you can plant or sow a seed, then you explain or you demonstrate it, you show it practically by examples. So giving that evidence how it's being done. And then describing. When you are describing, you provide detailed features of an issue or a stage of a process in a logical sequence using numbers and also headings and proper sentence. So when you are explaining, when you are describing something, you just need to be brief but yet you need to do it in a logical sequence. Now here you can use either, you can number your discussions, or you can use headings so that you will be able to interpret or describe it, or you can also use proper sentence in a logical sequences. When you are discussing also, it's like you are giving a detailed account in words. So you are talking about something in details, describing it in a logical sequences. And then discussing, there's another terminology or another verb that we are using, which is discuss. When you are discussing, you give a clear description, and then you also argue about futures by pointing out positive and negative futures. And yet you have to arrive at your conclusions. So when you are discussing, you are making an idea or a situation clear, to someone by describing it in more details or revealing the most important or relevant facts. And then we come to explaining. When you are explaining, you are also describing something and indicating the relationship between things, making clear, giving the reason of why and how examples of that particular future. So you explain, you give reason, detailed reasons why, and also how that thing is happening or is being done. It's also about revealing the relevant facts or giving more details of something when you're explaining. Continuing with the verbs, thinking process. So you can also come across the word or identify. When you are being asked to identify, here you need to recognize and name or list futures. For example, you might be asked a question, for example, to identify common plant diseases you will encounter in a garden. So that means you just need to list those or to identify those common plant diseases. So you need to be specific on them. Then outline. When you are outlining, you give an overview of and also indicating the main future of something in a concise or in a brief and a systematic or in a logical or orderly manner. So you outline, you give out that, you indicate that the main futures, outlining them in brief, giving the whole picture of the issue that you have to outline out. Then compare. When you are comparing, you are indicating similarities and difference of phenomena regarding particular criteria. So here you need to draw a conclusion about similarities and differences. It's also important if you can also use a table in order to be able to compare the phenomena, so that you can also indicate the similarities and the differences between the two things or the phenomena that you are comparing, giving a clear description of them in a table format. Now, illustrating. If you are asked to illustrate something, you are describing it by giving examples or making drawings. So you are explaining or making something clear by using examples. You can use charts, you can use pictures, etc. in order to make information more clear and in more details. And then we have another verbs, which is a psychomotor verbs. Here, these verbs goes when you are being asked to draw a mind map, or when you are writing a job application letter, or you are designing an overhead transparency, or you are collecting materials to do an experiment, or maybe you are going to interview someone in an occupation of your choice, or you want to demonstrate how to do something, or maybe you are planning to do a role play, etc. Then you have to consider the psychomotor verbs. In addition to this one, I want to tell you that in your study guide, these verbs are there and they are explained. Look at the meaning of each and every verbs in your study guides in more details. You can also use other source of information or relevant resources that you can use so that you can have a simple definitions of this meaning or of these verbs, so that you have a clear understanding what they mean, so that it will not be difficult for you to answer the questions during your assignments and also your examinations. And I want to tell you that we are not giving you the meaning of these verbs because we are going to ask you what do they mean in the exam. No, we only want you to understand or to have a clear meanings of these verbs. It's not that I'm going to ask you in the exam, how do you understand by identify or outline? No, we just want you to have a clear understanding, or for you to have a good understanding of what this verb means, so that it can help you to answer your questions during your assignments and your examination. Then I want us to look also at another topic which I think is of more relevant in your modules. And I want us to look at the aspects on plant production. Let us start with common plant diseases. Depending on where you live, the moist or the humid climates, for example, may be more prone to powdery mildew than dry, sunny climates. Now, the common plant diseases is given as follows. These are the common plant diseases that normally attack or infect the plants. So they are now powdery mildew, then we have black spot, we have damping off, we have rust, and then we have the wilt. To explain more in details of these diseases, for example, if you are asked to identify them or to explain them, then this is how you name them, and then you are also going to talk more of them into more details. For example, the powdery mildew is caused by the spread of fungus spores that infect plants. Affected plants appear to have white powder clinging to the leaves, and the leaves will eventually die, killing the plant. So it affects many, ranging from flowers to tomato plants. It's like warm days and cool nights, and plant in the shade may be prone to it. A home remedy for this infection uses baking soda, water, liquid dishwashing. Soap also can be used to control this type of infections or plant disease. Now, black spot is another plant disease or common plant disease or infection. So this is the scourge of rose growers. Normally, it affects those who, or is an issue with those that grow roses. So it can also affect tomato plants. Brown or black spots appear on the leaves. The leaves may turn yellow and fall off. Without the leaves, the plant can't produce enough food and eventually weakens the plants and kills it. So that's why the leaves are very, very important, or is one of the plant's parts that is very important. Remove leaves that shows the signs of black spots. So this is one of the control measures now in order to prevent this or the spreading of these infections. So one way is to remove the leaves that show the signs of black spot. Then also chemical spray are used to treat it, but neem-based products are also effective in controlling this infection. Then we are also having the damping off. The damping off is a fungal disease. It affects seeds or seedlings, normally the young plants that is just about to germinate. Then it's also caused by too much water. When starting seeds, trying watering seed tray from the bottom. So this is just a control measures, like when you are starting seeds, then try watering seed tray from the bottom. Pour water into a tray underneath the seed starting tray. The soil will soak up the water from underneath and give the tiny seedlings exactly the right amount of water. Then we have another infection or plant infection, which is now the rust. Fungus that affects many fruit trees and some flowering plants and shrubs. Rust leaves telltale signs such as brown spots like freckles on the back of plant leaves. Other signs include red, orange, or yellow spots or groups of spots on the underside of leaves. Overhead water encourages the development of rust, so try to switch to soaker hose. Common fungicide containing sulfur generally hold the progress of rust. So these are just some of the control measures in order to overcome these infections. And then another one is now the wilt. Wilt refers to a group of diseases that cause plant to wilt and die. For example, the fusarium wilt attacks tomatoes, peppers, and melons. These fungi live in the soil and travels up in water through the plant's vascular system. During the day, the plant appears to wilt. Eventually, the wilt fungi close off the plant vascular system and kill it. If the plant looks like it is dying from top to the bottom, chances are it's got a kind of wilt. Soil must be discarded and start with sterile pots and soil. So these are one of the control measures where you have to discard the soil which seems to be infected, and then you have to start over with a very sterile pots and soil, which is not being infected or contaminated with this type of fungi. Now, looking at the prevention of plant diseases, autumn or fall garden cleanup. Most plant diseases spread through spores. These spores like to hide in fallen leaves, garden debris, and dead plants. A thorough garden cleanup every fall ensure that the spores can't overwinter and hide to infect plants again in the spring. Poor watering habits. You have to water the base of the plant, not the leaves. So this is one of the prevention measures, because you need to avoid poor watering habits. So instead of water the leaves, you need to water at the base of the plant. Then a soaker hose may be a good choice for gardens prone to some diseases. Gardeners may wish to be conversant with the signs and symptoms of common plant diseases. Most, if not all, of these diseases are caused by bacteria, fungi, and viruses that are spread from one plant to another. Prevention is the key to warding off these types of problems. Now, I want also us to look at the most important subject or issue that is more relevant when you are writing up your assignments. And I want us to look at the plagiarism issue. As a student, I want you to take note that assignments are individual tasks and not group activities, unless it's being indicated as a group activities. But if not so, every assignment that we give out is an individual task and not supposed to be shared as a group. Therefore, copying text from other students or from other sources is not allowed in this institution. So you need to do your own work. You need to do your own assignments. Avoid copying and paste information directly from the source. You need to use your own understanding, use your own knowledge, so that you will be able to apply it. Do not share or discuss. Of course, yes, you are allowed to discuss your assignments with other fellow students, but this does not mean you can go and copy from them or you do exactly the same assignments. You should reformulate existing text and use your own words to explain what you have read. That means you should read and understand what you have read and explain it or do it in your own words, instead of copying and paste exactly what it is, maybe from the internet, or you are copying it from other sources. It is not accepted to retype existing text and just acknowledge the source in a footnote or in the bibliography. You should be able to relate the idea or concept without repeating the original author to the letter, which means it's also very important to, even if you have used somebody else's idea, that means it's better if you can also use or cite it or reference it, that is this one according to who 1990 what, or according to what year, then you cite it, you can cite. So that means that this is not your own idea, it's not your own opinions, it's somebody else's information that you are acknowledging. So it is very important when you are doing your assignments, you should read and understand so that you can be able to interpret it in your own understanding. You apply the knowledge that you have learned. Now, the aim of the assignment, remember, is not the reproduction of existing material, but to ascertain whether you have the ability to integrate the existing text and your own interpretation or critique to the text and offer a creative solution to the existing problems. So that means you need to read so that you understand, because once you read the information or you study the assignments on your own, you will have an understanding so that in future you apply what you have learned instead of you copying, because most of the time you see students are doing an assignment and then they go and copy from someone, or they lend the assignment to somebody else to do their assignments. Because sometimes I want you to take note of this. Make sure that you do your assignments on time. Do not wait until it is the due date of the assignment is closer, or maybe it's just about 3 days for the assignment to be submitted. Then that's when you are doing your assignments. You have to look at the moment you receive assignment, look at the due date and start to work on the assignments. Do not work at the last minute, because you will be confused. You will be not knowing what to do, and you end up giving your assignment to somebody else to do it instead of doing it yourself. So make sure that, or be warned that students who submit copied text will obtain a mark of 0 for the assignments, and a disciplinary steps will be also taken against that student by IOL. So do your own assignment and do not copy, because if you are copying from one another, or you are, as a student, you are lending out your assignment to somebody else so that somebody else can copy from your assignment, then once your assignments comes here and then we see that your assignments look exactly the same, we are just going to give you a 0 mark, and we can call you in for a disciplinary hearing. So be careful and do not make your work available to anyone else. Do your own work, protect your own works, and do understand the assignments. And when you are writing up your assignment, please, you have to type it. Make sure that your assignment is well typed and you write clearly, so that we don't struggle also to, because some of you, your handwriting is not that clear, so we prefer that your assignment is being typed so that it will be easy for us to mark your assignments. And the most important thing is, I want to tell you that you should do your assignments, or you should work very hard towards your assignment, because you need to obtain at least more than 50% from your assignments instead of obtaining below 50%, because this will affect you to obtain a passing grade when you after writing your examination. So because sometimes you find students are scoring higher marks in the test, maybe 90 or 80% in the test, and then at the end of the day you find that when it comes to the examination, this student will just even obtain 30% of the examination, then they end up failing the exam because they did not put more effort in the assignments, or they ask somebody else to help them during the assignments because they not do it on their own. Please do your own assignment, because this will help you to understand the subject more better, and also help you to study for to prepare for your examinations. So we have come to the end of our class or conduct class today. As I've said, my name is Abraham and I'm your tutor for this subject. And if you have more questions or you want more clarities, my information is there on the screen. As you can see, you can contact me on my mobile number, which is 081 4438 360, or you can send me an email, which is asholongela@unam.edu. so that you can ask me where you do not understand. I am available and I will be able to assist you and help you to pass and also make your destiny a success. So I wish you all the best in your assignments and upcoming examination.